Today, we're taking a journey across India. But, this isn't the kind of trip you'd find in a typical travel guide. We're going to dive into three really distinct snapshots, three unique stories from totally different corners of the country. And each one shows us how the past is still very, very much alive today. And that's really where our story kicks off, with this feeling of nostalgia. It's such a great reminder that history isn't just something you find in textbooks, right? It's in the taste of bread, it's in family traditions, it's in the stories people tell. Our first stop is Goa, where you can still hear and taste the echoes of a bygone era every single day. There's this really beautiful line from our source material on this. It says that while the Portuguese, the famous eaters of loaves, might be long gone, the makers are still there. The people who mix the dough, mold the loaves, and bake them, they're carrying on a tradition that's shaped Goan life for generations. Now, at the very heart of this story is the pater, which is the traditional Goan baker. And he wasn't just some guy selling bread. Oh no, he was a fixture of daily life, a friend, a companion, a guide. It's a family profession that, even today, is a totally essential part of the community. I mean, you could literally set your clock by this guy's routine. He'd show up twice a day, once in the morning, his basket overflowing, and then again in the evening after he'd sold everything. And his arrival, it was announced by this iconic tong jung sound of his bamboo staff hitting the ground. That sound would wake kids up from their sleep, and they'd come running out to greet him. You can even track the passage of time just by looking at the baker's clothes. Way back in the Portuguese days, they wore this single-piece frock called the cabai. Later on, that changed into a shirt and these very distinct trousers. And that style became so iconic that even today, if someone wears pants that end just below the knee, people might say they're dressed like a pater. And look, this was so much more than just a daily snack. The baker was absolutely indispensable. Wedding gifts were considered meaningless without the sweetbread called bol. Any party needed bread. A daughter's engagement meant sandwiches were a must. And Christmas, well, that demanded cakes and boliñas. The baker's furnace was and still is at the center of every big moment in a Goan village. This was such a respected job that bakers were often described as having a jackfruit-like physical appearance. And that plump physique, well, it wasn't just a physical trait. It was an open sign to everyone that the baker and his family never went hungry. It meant they were happy, they were prosperous. All right, let's pack our bags and travel south for our second glimpse of India, Coorg. This place is a whole different world. We're talking rolling hills, lush evergreen rainforests, and a people who are fiercely independent with this incredible legacy of valor. How's that for a description, huh? Coorg, which is also known as Kodagu, is this beautiful spot nestled between Mysore and Mangalore. It's coffee country, where the air itself just feels invigorating. But beyond all that stunning scenery is a culture that is every bit as unique as the landscape. So the people of Coorg, the Kodavus, are known for being fiercely independent, and their origins are a source of some really fascinating debate. One theory says they're descended from a part of Alexander the Great's army that couldn't make it back home and just settled here. Another theory, which gets a lot of support from their traditional dress, points to an Arabic origin. Either way, their martial traditions, their marriage customs, their religious rites, they're all distinct from the Hindu mainstream. And here it is. This is that traditional kupia, a long black coat with a beautifully embroidered waist belt. Its resemblance to the kufia that's worn by Arabs and Kurds is what lends so much weight to that theory of an Arab origin. Now, this tradition of bravery isn't just something from ancient history. Not at all. The Coorg Regiment is one of the most decorated in the entire Indian Army. The very first chief of the Indian Army, General Cariappa, he was a Coorgi. And this legacy is so deeply respected that even today, Kodavus are the only people in India who are allowed to carry firearms without a license. Think about that. So how does that high-energy spirit show up today? Well, it's found a whole new playground. Coorg has become a massive hotspot for adventure sports. That ancient martial spirit is now channeled into things like river rafting, rock climbing, and mountain biking. Apparently, even the most laid-back people who visit become converts to this high-energy life. Okay, for our final stop, we're heading northeast to Assam. Now, if Coorg is coffee country, then Assam is, without a doubt, the world's teacup. This is the heartland of India's tea production, a place that is just defined by a sea of green. Just get a load of that number. 80 crore. That's 800 million. According to our source, that is how many cups of tea are drunk every single day, all around the world. It's an absolutely staggering figure, and it really puts into perspective the importance of the place we're about to see. This is how one of the characters in the text describes his first view of Assam from a train window. And you can just imagine it, right? After all the noise of the city, the first thing that hits you is just this overwhelming, sheer greenery. You see these soft green paddy fields, and then they give way to this endless expanse of tea bushes. And what a view it is. Just try to picture it. A sea of tea bushes stretching all the way to the horizon with a backdrop of densely wooded hills. And moving in between all those neat, orderly rows, you can just make out these tiny, doll-like figures of the tea pluckers. Assam has the largest concentration of tea plantations on the planet, and it is a sight to behold. So what on earth does a baker in Goa, a warrior in Korg, and a tea planter in Assam all have in common? Well, they're all part of this living history, this incredible mosaic of stories where the past isn't some distant memory, it's a vibrant, breathing part of the present. In each one of these places, a totally unique history is still shaping daily life. In Goa, the simple sound of a baker's staff echoes a Portuguese legacy. In Coorg, an ancient warrior's code is alive and well in a land of coffee. And in Assam, you've got an ancient legend literally steaming inside a modern cup of tea. These three snapshots, they show us traditions that have lasted through time, passed down from one generation to the next. And it really leaves you with a powerful thought, doesn't it? If these are just three brief glimpses into the soul of India, what other countless stories, traditions, and living histories are out there, just waiting to be discovered?